Kirby and the Forgotten Land is only a few weeks away from releasing. The long-rumored and often hinted at next phase of Kirby is almost here, after years of rumors and teases, complete with the font change in the logo. The environments and gameplay of Forgotten Land look fantastic, and the recently released demo showed us how well it all works together. I'll be there on March 24th, 11:59 PM, smashing the game unlock button. So, with all these changes in mind, will the music be moving on to the next phase too? Well, between the demo, 3 trailers, and brief gameplay snippets we've seen so far, we've heard around 15 new songs, and they carry the same happy, melodic energy that Kirby soundtracks are known for, so I have no worries about the overall quality. What has me the most curious about the soundtrack are the remixes. If you've played any Kirby game made in the last 15 years, you'll know that Kirby soundtracks are full of homages, references, and remixes of songs from the series past. So that has me wondering, what's in the cards for Kirby and the Forgotten Land? I put together a small list of songs from the series' history that I think have a good shot at getting remixes in Forgotten Land, based on locations we've seen in the trailers, patterns from recent Kirby soundtracks, and a little bit of bias based on what songs I like. If you're watching from the future where the game's already been released, get your scorecards out, so you can either congratulate me for my top-notch insight, or laugh at me for the fact that I didn't guess that the entire Kirby's Pinball Land soundtrack would be included and remastered. Let's start by remembering back to that very first trailer. We see open shots of the environment with environmental sounds, until we finally see Kirby waking up on the beach. In this first 46 seconds of the reveal, I was a bit worried that the game may go the Breath of the Wild route with its music, and feature songs that are sparse and open. Thankfully, the trailer soon kicked in with that Star Allies style orchestral sound, indicating a more traditional soundtrack. But let's pretend we're in that other universe for a second. What music would work in a Kirby game with an open environment soundtrack? The first one that jumped to mind for me is Quiet Forest from Kirby 64. It gives off that exploratory energy, and can be simplified into just a few instruments if necessary. Stepping away from our hypothetical mint Breath of the Wild, I have faith that a remix of this song can make it into the game as is. The overgrown, forced aesthetic still exists in many areas seen in the trailers, and they'll need some songs to fill them up with. Taking a look back at some of the oldest games in the series, it's fun to see just how many of the songs have gotten remixed in one form or another. Dreamland 3 has been getting a ton of love lately, and I'm pretty sure that the original Kirby's Dream Land has had every song brought back at some point. So, looking back at these older games, are there any potential songs that haven't been remixed yet? There are 2 that stand out to me. The first is Orange Ocean from Kirby's Adventure. I did some research and discovered that this is the only Kirby's Adventure stage theme to not have a modern game remix. And to add a quick disclaimer to this list, I'm not including the Canvas Curse remixes, because, firstly, nearly the whole soundtrack was remixes, every Kirby's Adventure stage theme was remixed there, and the game was released in 2005, 17 years ago, not as modern as it used to be. Orange Ocean hasn't seen any official remixes since. In the second Forgotten Land trailer, we saw a whole world dedicated to water levels. The original Orange Ocean is a chill, laid-back song, which fits well with wide open areas meant for exploring. The other song I'm thinking of didn't even get a Canvas Curse remix, and its only reappearance has been in Kirby Superstar Ultra, the 2008 remake of 1996's Kirby Superstar. The song in question is Marshmallow Castle. A laid-back song that plays as you explore a large building seems like a perfect match for Forgotten Land. As it is now, I'll admit that the song is a bit simple, but that seems like the perfect reason to remix it. I love seeing great tracks like Sky Tower and Crown get remixes that expand their potential, which is why I'd love to see that same love be given to these lesser recognized songs too. There's always that one area in Kirby games that's a little bit creepier than the others. You know the type. Your Sand Canyon Pyramid, your Divine Terminus, your Ripple Star. Some of these areas have been big enough to feature multiple music tracks, including ones from the series past. The two that jump out at me first are the Green Goo rearrangement of Sand Canyon 3 from Dreamland 3, and the Egg Engine's reimagining of Iceberg, also from Dreamland 3. Considering that Forgotten Land takes place in a huge forgotten land, I can easily imagine there being a creepy, underwater, sunken ship section. And what better song to remix for it than Spooky Surroundings from Kirby Squeak Squad? While that game relied heavily on remixes itself, the original tracks it did have were standout songs that I feel haven't been given proper recognition, even in the current remix-heavy music environment we've been in for the past few games. For the longest time, it seemed like Squeak Squad was ignored by the main series, outside of keychains and stickers. But Star Allies showed us that HAL considers Squeak Squad to be right up there with the main series, with DeRoche's inclusion as a dream friend and that game's music playing in bonus stages. I would love to hear a modern rendition of this song, or any of the other original songs from that game. The second and third Forgotten Land trailers showed us a bit more context for what we'll be doing in the game, from rescuing Waddle Dees to populating your own town with different specialty buildings. And one of those buildings, as I'm sure many of you immediately saw, is based on the real-life Kirby Cafe. For those who don't know, the Kirby Cafe is a real restaurant in Japan that first opened in 2016, temporarily at first, and later kept its doors open permanently starting in 2019. You can order very cute food there, and listen to ambient remixes of Kirby music while you eat. And that music is good. So good that you can buy physical CDs of the soundtrack online. So, seeing this building show up in-game is very exciting, since there's a strong chance we'll get at least one new Kirby Cafe style remix. We see a frantic minigame take place in the cafe during the trailer, so my guess is that we'll get a more upbeat style remix. It could be anything really. I'm just hoping that the cafe style music makes it into the game. So far, these have all been relatively obscure picks. That said, it's surprising to say that for as many lesser known songs there are in the Kirby series, there are probably just as many well-known ones. Some songs get a lot of remix love, and out of fairness, I want to include some of those on my prediction list too. So, based on what we've seen in the trailers, there are lots of tall buildings, some that you have to circle around to get up. We've seen this type of traversion before, from as early as the second Kirby game, back in good old Butter Building from Kirby's Adventure. If we're bringing back the feeling of scaling a building, might as well include the excellent music too, right? Most of what I said could also fit with Sky Tower too, though. Would I be too greedy of a boy to want to remix mashup of Butter Building and Sky Tower together? Maybe. Moving on, seeing that there's so much overgrown plant life in this abandoned city, and that the game is literally called Forgotten Land, lots of you probably thought of the similarities to Shiverstar from Kirby and the Crystal Shards, where many theories point out that that world could be a post-apocalyptic Earth. Anyone who's played that game remembers the iconic factory inspection song, playing as you descend into a desolate factory, abandoned and possibly forgotten by its creators. I mean, that connection makes sense, right? I'm officially predicting it. For one more popular pick, it's a song that I've actually been thinking they would remix for years. That song being Sand Canyon 1 from Kirby's Dream Land 3. Since HAL Labs wouldn't remix it themselves for the longest time, the fans took it upon themselves. And so, the song became a popular meme over on Nico Nico Doga, a Japanese video streaming service, where it started gaining popularity around 2008. So, the song's popular among fans, but does HAL know this? They actually might. In Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, we got a song called Kirby Medley, featuring 4 popular Kirby songs: Sky High from Superstar, Gourmet Race, Green Greens, and Sand Canyon 1? That's right, the 4 most popular meme songs got their own medley, officially sanctioned by HAL themselves. We did see some desert areas in the gameplay footage we've seen, so maybe it's time for the song to make its remix debut in the main series. Alright, let's throw out any pattern analysis and any guesses based on locations. These are just 5 songs that I really like that I want official remixes for. Number 1, Prairie Area from Kirby Triple Deluxe. I really love the melody and the cheeriness, and seeing this song in a form longer than 42 seconds would make me really, really happy. Number 2, Planet Earthfall from Kirby Star Allies. What a beautiful song. I know it's from the most recent mainline game, but I'd love to hear it in a new style. Number 3, Oasis Area from Kirby's Return to Dreamland. It's such a happy song, and like Prairie Area, it needs to be longer. 54 seconds isn't long enough. Number 4, Aquastar from Kirby 64. The chord changes are incredible, and imagine how great an extension would sound. And my never ever ever pick, Mr. Shine and Mr. Bright from Kirby's Block Ball. I know that they almost never remix spin-off game songs, but hearing a new version of this song without the limitations of the Game Boy, I can only imagine the angelic quality of music playing so sweetly out of the Switch's unworthy speakers. With all of that said, these are all still just guesses. At this point, there's still a ton that we don't know about the game as a whole. Originally, I wasn't even sure if the game would have remixes, but recently we heard snippets of 2 of them. Surprisingly, a version of the Star Allies title theme, and, of course, a version of Green Greens that plays in Kirby's house. With the game so close to releasing, I figured that this would be a great opportunity to talk about some of the patterns I've been seeing in Kirby music, and make some educated guesses as to what songs may be coming back. If you have any guesses for returning music, post them down in the comments. I'd love to hear what all of your guesses are, and it'll be a fun time capsule to look back on in a month or so. What it all comes down to is that I'm really, really excited for Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Knowing that a new, huge soundtrack is included, just waiting to be listened to, and that it might have some of the newest, best songs in the series, it gets me hyped, plain and simple.